Today we have learned about how we can install Kali Linux in VirtualBox. And in today's class, we'll recover some basic Linux commands as yesterday there was some network issue. So first we'll look into the pwd command. So pwd command in Linux prints the absolute path to the current working directory. Like this command print the current working directory of our terminal, like in which we are working. So we'll look into it live. So this is our Kali machine, and this is our terminal. Yes, we can do pwd, and you can see we are in /root. Like we are working on the root directory, so it's showing /root. Okay. Now first I will explain all of these commands, and then we will do practical. So cat command. Cat command in Linux displays the contents of the files, like what is stored in the file, all data is stored in the file. And the clear command. Clear is a command line. Clear command is used to clear the command line screen. Like if we run many commands and it becomes messy, so we can do run clear command and it will be cleaned up. Touch command in Linux creates a blank file. Like if we want to create a blank file without anything, means that file will be empty. So we can use touch command. Then ls command is used to list the directory contents, like what is stored in the directory. And rm command. So rm command in Linux is used to remove a file, like we delete some files or folders in Windows. Okay. I think some. Now chmod command. So chmod command in Linux is used for changing the file permissions, like the owner permission, like read, write, or execute permissions which we get. And chown command is used for changing the ownership of a file. Like we will look into all these commands analyze. Like we are working on the root directory, and if we do ls, so it will display all the contents and the root for directory. Now we can create a file, blank file through touch. So we can simply do touch and create a file name cyber. So if we do ls again, we can see there is a file named cyber. And now if we do cat cyber, so you will not see anything because it's a blank file. We can also edit a file through cat, like if we want to insert something into cat, so we can do cat / and cyber. And now we can enter any data to be written in the file, like hi, yes. And we can enter and press Ctrl C. So now the file will be saved and this data will be written in the file. So if we do cat cyber now, so you can see data which we enter in the file. Hi, this are basic Linux class. Okay, so now we'll see how we can add something to the file. So we can do, you want to edit the file using terminal, so you can simply do echo and type anything which you want to add in the file, like this. Started 5 minutes ago. And we can do use double greater than signs, so this will append into the file. So if we do now cat cyber, So you can see this is added to the file. And if we use only single slash like this, so this will overwrite the file and the previous data will be gone. So if we do now view the contents of the file, to cat so now we can see the file is overwritten with this command which we enter on the file. So this is the basic cat. And now we can also use Vim for editing files in Linux. It's also a command line CLI based editor. We can do Vim cyber. So I think Vim is not installed in this system. Okay, VI is installed. So VI is the older version of Vim. Now we can see the content, but if we enter anything, it will not be typed because it's the command mode. So we have to first press I for going into the insert mode. So now we are in the insert mode and we can so we can, if you want to save the file, we can use colon W for saving. So now the file is saved, and colon WQ for save and quitting. So now the file is saved. So if you want to see the contents of the file, you can do cat save. Now this is in the next line because we added something and removed it. So this was the PI editor, and Vim is also the same, but Vim have some more advanced things. So now look into how we can remove the files, and so we can use rm command to remove file. Like if I do ls now, I can see there are many files. So I can use rm cyber to delete this file. So now if we do ls again, we will not see the file because it's deleted. You can also create directories with mkdir command. So mkdir and ethical. So you can see the directory is created. We can change the directory using the cd command. So cd ethical hacking. And if we do ls now, you can see there are no contents in the file because we created the folder just now. So you can make some files. And if we do ls now, we can see the files are created. So we can do cd space dot dot for going to the previous directory. So previously we are on root, so we are back into root. If we do pwd, you can see we are into. And also if we are in some other right, like this, so if we are to write this in ethical hacking and in slash hack under ethical hacking. So if you want to go directly to the home directory, we can simply do only use cd. So now we are directly into the root. And if we do pwd, we can see we are in slash. So the basic commands. Now we can see the permissions of the files and folders. So we can use ls-l option. So it will show all the hidden files and the permissions of the file. So the first these things, this is the permission d for directory and rwx r dash, and these are the permissions. So if you see the file dot bash rc, we can see it has only read permissions for users and read write. And if you see the folder which we created now, ethical hacking, it have the read, write, execute permission for this user, and read, execute, and read, execute. So it doesn't have write permission to other user. So you can change the permissions using chmod. And here is the ownership and group ownership of the file. So it's owned by root user and group root. And here you can see the size of the files. So like there are some files .mrc, .src, and folders. So you can see that all the folders are blank and that storage is quite is 4096 bytes, and with some files there's 391 bytes because it's a text file. So it's, and if we create any blank text file, so now we have created the eh file, and we can see it's of zero size because it's a blank file. And if we enter something into the file like echo hack into eh, and now if you again see the size, so you can see the size is increased and it's a 5 bytes. So the command. So now we'll look into how we can edit the permissions of a file. Like eh file, it have read, write, read, and read permissions. So we can give it some other permissions like execute, but it's not working yet. It's the text file, but we'll look into it. So we can do chmod plus x for execute option and eh. Now if we again do ls-l, so you can see the color of this is changed to green because all the executables in Linux are shown by highlighted by green. And we can see the x here comes extra because now it have executable function. Like this, we can also give write permissions to other users. So chmod plus xw and then file or folder. And now if we do ls-la, we'll see the write permission. So that was it. Now we can also change the ownership of file or folder using chown command. So we'll look into later because there is only one user currently, so I'll show it later. Okay, so now we'll look into some other commands. Like we have seen the command for creating directory, and for removing directory we can use rmdir command. Like if you do cd thing, so there's a directory name hack, and if we try to use rm option on it, so it will not remove the file. It's a directory, and rm is used to remove only files. So we can use rmdir option here. Rmdir, now the directory is removed easily. Now we can use the rm-rf command. So rm-rf command is used to remove something forcefully. Like in the previous option, we can again create a directory named hack, and so hack is created again. Now if we want to remove, we can also remove using the rm command. But if we have to do it forcefully because it's a directory. So if we do rm-rf and then so it will remove the directory also, because if we add the rf attributes to it and it executes the command forcefully. So now if we see, the directory is deleted with rm command. Now we'll look into some file command. File command is used in Linux to determine the file type, like the type of file. It's a image, zip file, or a executable, or a text file. And Mv command in Linux is used to move or rename a file, like mv source file and destination. So we can move the files with this command and also rename the files. And sudo command in Linux is used to run any command as super user. Like in Linux, root is the super user. I told you yesterday about it. So if you want, if we are some other user, and if you want to run some command as root, so you can use sudo command in the starting of the command. Now I will show the file command. So if you do file, there are three files in this directory kp and if we run file command to k, so you can see it's an empty file because we created it using touch, so it's empty. So let's enter some data into this file. Go and we'll enter. Okay. So if we again do the file, run the file command on k, so you can see it's ASCII text because it contains some ASCII text in the file. And if I don't have currently any other type of file, so I can't show, but you can try to run it on other files like images, JPG files, zip files, or any other type of file, executable. So it will show about the file that it's executable or image. So this is the file command. Now we'll look into the mv command. So like we have three files in this directory, ethical hacking. So if you want to move the k file to this slash root directory, so I can simply do mv k and slash root, and this file will be moved. So if we do ls again, we can't see the file here because the file is already moved to the root directory. So if we do see, if we go to the root directory and do ls, we can see that the file is here. And if we do cat, we can see the data in the file. You can also use move mv command to rename a file, like mv k, and I would to give it some other name like hacking. So now if I do ls, we'll see that the k file is replaced with hacking. It's the same file, but name is renamed. Okay. And we are currently user, but if we are not root user and we want to run some command as root, so you can simply add sudo in the starting and run any command. Like if you want to remove a file which we don't have permission to, so you can simply use sudo rm and file name. So it will simply do this thing. So now we'll look into some other commands like man. Man command in Linux is used to show the description of a command, like help, like what this command does and how to execute syntax, etc. Other things. Hostname command. Hostname is just a command which shows the computer name, which we enter in the starting during installation. And add user command is used to for creating a user. So we'll do it. Password command in Linux is used for changing or giving a password to a user account. And user-del-r command is used for deleting a user. Now we'll look into the commands. So you can, if you want to learn about, don't know about what ls command does, so you can do simply man and ls. Like we can see the name, so ls command, we can see the description, list directory content, we can see the syntax class. ls, we can add options like we added -la for showing the hidden files and more description, and the file name we can add at the end. And we can also see other attributes. You can try to use all these things, and we can close this manual by q, so it is closed. So this is the man command. We can, if we don't know about a command in Linux, so we can simply do man and search about it. So this was the man command. Now we'll look into the host name command. So host name command just shows the host name of the system which we use to enter during the installation. And now we'll look into how we can add users in this system. So we can simply use add user command. So if I want to add a username cyber, we can simply do add user cyber. We can give it a password. So there is no error. Password was not correct, and this password is we can leave all these things blank, and if you want to enter, we can enter. So now the user is created, and if you want to log in into the user, we can log out and log in again, or you can simply log in through command line using the su command. So I can do su and the username, right? So now I am logging into cyber user. We can see in this starting cyber at the rate cyber. Now we can see the dollar sign and starting. Previously we were seeing hash because hash is used for root user and dollar is for non-user. So now we are running as the cyber user. So if I see the ownership of the EH file. So EH is owned by root. So if you want to edit the EH file, so let's try to edit the EH file. So echo, I can enter into EH. So now we can see permission denied because we don't have write permissions on this file. You can only have read and execute permission on the file, and only root user have write permissions to this file. You can use sudo command, sudo echo. So again we can see the permission denier because this user is not added in the sudoers file. It's a file next, so we can add any user into that file, and that can use sudo command to execute any command as root. So this is one. So and I also can't change the ownership of the file. So let's log into the root user. And now let's change the ownership permission of this file, EH file. So ch own and our user cyber, and if we do ls-la now, so you can see that it's owned by the cyber user. Okay, and we can also give all the permissions to the hex file, and let's give all the permissions. So we can use chmod command and 777 for giving all permissions and the file name EH. So if we do ls-la, so EH have all permissions. So now let's try to log in through cyber user. So we are logged into cyber user. And now if you want to edit the file, so we can, and we can, yeah. Okay, I entered command by mistake, echo hack. So the file is edited correctly. Now if we do cat eth, you can see the file is updated because we gave the permissions. So this was how we can change permissions and add the user in Linux. Now if I want to delete this user, I can simply log in through root, and I can simply use user del command. Well, hyphen r and user cyber. So user cyber is currently used by process. So the user in some use, so we can simply kill the process. And now if you do user cyber, I think it's not killing. It's, I think that the user is used in some process, so you can close the terminal, start again. So it might close the process which is used by the user. So we can now again try to remove the command to remove the user. Yes, I think it's already deleted. Yes, so the user is already deleted. So this is how we can delete the user. So now we can't log in through user with cyber because it doesn't access. And we can also, let's add another user. Add user. Now if I have entered some password here. So if I want to change the password for the hack user, so I can simply use password command. Password. Now I can enter a new password. So now you can see password updated successfully. So the password for this user is updated successful. You can also change the password for root user using this command. So we can do password root and enter a new password for the root user. So password do not match. Let me do it again. This password updated successfully. So now the password has been changed for root user. Okay, so now we'll look into the other commands. Some more things about Linux. So Linux directories. So slash is the root directory of the Linux file system. So slash it's the main directory in which all other subdirectories are there. So you can say like it contains all the subdirectories of Linux. Slash home, it contains the home directory of all the users. Like we have created user cyber and hack. So we can see the home directories of these users in the slash home directory. Slash bin, it's a directory in Linux which contains essential user binaries. Like we use some tools and other things. So all the binaries for these tools are stored in the slash bin directory. Slash var, it's a directory in Linux which contains logs. Like if we run some servers and other things on the system, so you can see all the logs which are created that are stored in slash var directory. Slash root, it's the root home directory of the root user. Like we are running an root user, so it's the home directory. So all the files of the root user will be stored in this directory. So I can show the directories to you. So if we do cd slash, I should do ls, you can see the bin directory, home directory, and var directory. So these are the directories, root directory. And you can also, if you do cd home and ls, you can see that hack user directory. And because we created hack user, there was also cyber directory in this slash home, but it's deleted because we deleted the user. So now we can see some more things about Linux, like some files. some important files which are used by hackers, and we can check many information in these files. So there's a file name /etc/password. So it contains basic information about each user account on the system. Like we created the user hack and cyber, so we can see the information about that users in this file. I will show it practical. Let's first read about all these things. Now /etc/shadow. It contains the password of all the users in encrypted format, like the password for root user, any user we create. So we can also crack these passwords. So we'll learn it in further tutorial. In .bashrc, it's a shell script that bash runs whenever it's started. It initializes an interactive shell session. We can put any command in that file that we could type at the command prompt. Like it's a shell script when runs when we open command CLI, command terminal R. So we can enter any command in this file and that will be automatically executed when we open the terminal. Like if we want to display something when we open the terminal, so we can simply add that in the bash file. Or if you want to create a user at every startup, so we can do that. Like alias is a command in Linux which is used for creating shortcuts of the commands. Like if we do alias c equal to, I forgot to show the clear command. So clear command does clears the terminal, like we have done many things till now. So we can run clear command and it will clear the terminal. Now I will show you some or the alias command. So if we do alias, we can see, yeah, see. So now we will run alias. So alias is used for creating alias of a, like the short command. Like if we do alias c equal to clear. So enter. So now if this C, if we enter C, so it will execute the command in the we place in the double quote. So we can use it to shorten some long commands. Like if we do C now, it will be executed as clear. So the terminal is cleared up by C. Okay, so now if we want to make shortcuts in the starting, so we can add that in the bash rc file. So after startup, the alias will be created. And if we do C every time, the screen will be cleared up and clear command will be executed easily. So that was about it. Now we'll look into some basic Windows commands. So these all commands are similar to the Linux, like cd command. So it's used for changing the directory. mkdir or md command. It's used for creating directory, same as Linux. rmdir command is used for removing the directory, rmdir or rd. dir command in Windows is used for listing the directories, similar as ls command in Linux. ren command is used for renaming files or directories. You can simply use ren name and the new name of the file. You can use dir/h for listing all the directories with hidden attributes, like which are hidden. Can use copy command to copy a file in Windows. So now we'll see some practical of these commands. So if I do dir, I can see all the directories in this file, in this folder. So I can simply do cd. So the directory is changed and we are into hack directory now. We can use cd space dot dot for going back. Yes, use mk for creating a directory like mkdir. Yeah. So if we do dir now, learn directory is created. So we can also remove the directory by rmdir or simply use rd. So rd, so if we do dir now, the directory is removed. Now we can also use copy to copy a file. Let's go into hack cd. Right. We can copy the command from the PSI. So let's go back and copy hack.txt to slash hack. So if we do copy hack.txt hack, so we can see one file is copied. Now if we go into hack directory and do dir, we can see the file name. For viewing the contents of a file in Windows, we can use type command. So we can simply do type hack.txt. You can simply see hacker, which are the contents of the file. We can edit the files simply using echo. Like if you want to enter some new data in the file, so we can simply do learning basics and we can pass it into hack.txt. We now use type hack.txt, let's see learning basics, and we can use double quotes for appending something like hack. And if I use double quote, so it will be appended into the file, not here, because we use single quote and the previous data was gone. And in this case, I use double quotes. So if I do type again, I can see the data is added. So these are some basic commands. Now we can also use time using the time command. So and the current time is this. So this was it, this session. If you have any doubts, you can ask.